It is important that some of the solutions and the images in the real world have fantasy resonance to them. For example, the girl uses an elixir in the real world to take the captain down, which is the elixir of the medicine that the doctor gave her. You know, the captain polishes his boots, which boots are incredibly important in fairy tales, like 7 league boots in Tom Tom, you know, and I give him that characteristic, and it's not accidental. The fact that mirrors, which are another important thing in magical things, are used a couple of times in the movie when the girl looks at her shoulder and when the captain is shaving. You can see how I think the girl is watching the world and learning about that world through her fantasy. And it's very important also to see the forces that are at play in the magical world at play in the real world, or echoed in some form in the real world. The pale man, the faceless thing that devours children, can either be the captain or the priest at the table, whatever, you know, the organized church or organized politics or whatever you want to make of it. It's a force in the real world and it's a force in the fantasy world.
Ni bebáis nada, absolutamente nada. Os va la vida en ello.
Part of the echoing of the fantasy elements in the real world, for example, was to try and echo the shape of the horns of the fawn. For example, you know, the bed of the mother tries to look like a throne. We fabricated it, we built it. I wanted a huge bed with a huge board sculpted so that when she's in a throne, it feels like she's always been in a throne. And then in the center of that design, we put, if you go back and see the movie, you'll see the curving design in the center of the headboard. It echoes the horns of the fawn. The horns of the fawn also are echoed in the sort of fallopian tube blood structure that appears in the book of the girl, the book of Crossroads, when she's alone in the bathroom. And then the other things that echo the horns of the fawn is, for example, the tree. You can see the tree in its earliest design was already echoing the horns of the fawn. And then I decided to sculpt, even if you never see them, little fawn faces on top of the doors. You would need to freeze frame, but every doorway in the house has a fawn. And in the banisters, in the banister of the staircase, we put this face of a fawn. When the doctor is climbing down the stairs with after talking to Mercedes, you can see it if you freeze frame again. But it's part of that. It's part of the natural world and the magical world echoing each other constantly.